essay. But just to remind you, 1, 2, and 3 are false, false, true. The city where the wedding took place was Cana in Galilee, and Mary, Jesus' mother, told Jesus about the problem at the wedding. Now, I'm going to read this, and I want you to write it down word for word. I'm doing that for 2 reasons. I want you to have a complete answer to this, because you're going to see this question again. But I also want to give you an understanding of what I consider a good essay. Because most people give me a sentence or 2. That isn't an essay. That is a sentence. So this is a full answer and the kind of answer I'm looking for. Okay, so the question is, explain what Christ meant when he said at the wedding, "My hour has not yet come." So here's what you write: Christ's concern was his spiritual mission. Christ's concern was his spiritual mission. The hour of his glorification. The hour of his glorification. Had not yet come. The hour of his glorification had not yet come. By the way, this will be on YouTube tonight, and you can go back if you think you missed something in writing, and you can slow it down and write as much as you need to write. So Christ's concern was his spiritual mission. The hour of his glorification had not yet come. He is gently pointing his mother. He is gently pointing his mother to the truth. He is gently pointing his mother to the truth about who he is. He is gently pointing his mother to the truth about who he is. Messiah. That's who he is. He is gently pointing his mother to the truth about who he is. Messiah. As Messiah, he will one day, as Messiah, he will one day provide the most overflowing wedding banquet. As Messiah, he will one day provide the most overflowing wedding banquet. He will one day provide the most overflowing wedding banquet. That day has not come yet. That day has not come yet. But that day has not come yet, but Messiah has come. That day has not come yet, but Messiah has come. And this banquet in Cana, this banquet I want to add in Cana, is the proof. This banquet in Cana is the proof that a greater banquet is coming. This banquet is the proof that a greater banquet is coming. Everybody got it? Okay, you get to rest your hands for a little bit. Open your book to chapter 9. We are on page 63. Christ cleanses the temple. The temple in Jerusalem was the center of Jewish religious worship. The first such Jewish temple was constructed by Solomon to replace the old tabernacle with a more permanent building. David wanted to construct such a building, but God would not allow him to do so because he had shed too much blood as a warrior. However, David did collect a lot of materials necessary for the building and made arrangements to have his son Solomon complete it. Solomon built the temple on the site that David his father had selected, Mount Moriah, east of the city of Zion, today's Jerusalem. To guarantee the necessary space for the temple and its courts, the top of the hill had to be leveled. Construction of the temple began in 956 BC, and it was finished by 949 BC. So it took about 7.5 years to finish the temple. You can read the details about Solomon's construction and the dedication of the temple in 1 Kings. Besides Solomon's temple, 2 other temples have been erected on the same spot. Zerubbabel led the Jews in rebuilding the temple after they came back from captivity about 520 BC. According to the Talmud, those are Jewish commentaries on the many laws and rules of Judaism. This temple lacked 5 things that had been in Solomon's temple: the Ark of the Covenant, which was stolen, the sacred fire, the Shekinah glory, the divine presence of God, the Holy Spirit, the Urim and Thummim, objects belonging to the garment of the high priest by which he learned the will of God in doubtful cases. The temple of Zerubbabel was plundered and nearly destroyed, but Judas Maccabeus later restored it. Note, Jews today do not consider Zerubbabel's temple to be a second temple, but merely a rebuilding of the first temple. When Rome conquered Israel, the temple was in grave disrepair. Herod the Great undertook the rebuilding of the temple on a grander scale. The Jews believe Herod's temple is their second temple. Herod's temple took about 46 years to complete. It was a magnificent edifice and stood until Titus destroyed it in AD 70. The Romans destroyed it. So this is Herod the Great's temple is the temple that Jesus would have been in. Some of the most interesting places in Herod's temple are as follows, and you can see the numbers in your book so you can know what we're talking about. Solomon's porch, that was like a covered portico where you could walk, not like a front porch. The scene of Jesus' famous words, "My sheep hear my voice." The king's porch, or royal stoa, had nearly 200 marble columns and a high arching ceiling. The pinnacle of the temple, the highest point of the temple, was the southeastern corner of the king's porch, where the devil took Jesus during his temptation. Doctors of the law, lawyers in other words, met there to hear and answer questions. It was also where Jesus, as a boy of 12, talked to those scholars. The court of the Gentiles was open to all comers. Anybody could go into the court of the Gentiles, Jews, Greeks, anyone. Paved with stones of many colors, and where the money changers and the cattle dealers desecrated the house of God. The beautiful gate, where Peter and John met a beggar and said, "Silver and gold have I none, but such as I have give I thee." And then the treasury, where Jesus saw a woman cast her tiny bit of money 2 days before his crucifixion. And then the temple itself, that's the true temple where God resided. So made of white marble, stood many feet above the courts and porches below. Gold plates ornamented the front of the temple entrance. So now you're going to do this student work. It's on pages 65 and 66. You can get started now, but if you don't finish it, it is homework for tonight, and I think I wrote this on. So chapter 9 student work is due tomorrow, and it's highly likely I will take a grade on that.